Whoa! I did not see whatever that was. But this is about my first big ride since I got back from being gone for a month on the 390 Adventure. I did a pretty nice ride with my Svart peel-in a few nights ago, and I had some fun, but boy, I was on the squirreliest of gravel roads, and it was just slick. I don't know what was going on. Maybe I should have checked my tire pressure a little bit more. Maybe my tire, for whatever reason, gained a little pressure with the increasing temperatures, because that back tire was just not wanting to stay planted when I was out and about. But it was really soft, dusty, light gravel, and it was just wanting to wash out all over the place. So I took a couple falls, and unfortunately gave her a few scratches on the side of the engine, because I don't have the engine guards on that bike like I do now on this one. So that was kind of ironic that I didn't think I needed them on that one, but that's where I ended up getting the scratches. But that's okay. She's still good looking to me. But the 390 sounds really good now with that exhaust. It'll be interesting to see how it comes through in the audio on this film. If it sounds too obnoxious. Right now I got my earplugs in because I knew I was going to take a longer ride, and usually it's just the wind noise that after a while kind of gets a little old. I guess that's one thing to say for this Bell helmet, is it's a pretty good helmet, and I haven't used anything that's any primo options out there, but the wind noise can get a little old in this helmet as you go, and maybe partly that's my fault because I leave the peak on all the time. I don't bother taking it off, and I just deal with it because, at least for the most part, I'm not doing long enough rides that I care to take it off, and I always am looking to get off road. But up here going around the reservoir, you can't really see much at the moment, but boy, this is a nice road. Twist all over the place, and I'm not even really paying attention, and the 390's doing all the work for me. Just got her in 4th gear and letting her chug along. So I still got the TK C70 up front and the Shinko big block on the back. But like I mentioned in previous videos, I'm considering, I wanted to change out the front tire. I knew that it was not giving me the performance off-road that I wanted. So I did go ahead and order up a Mitas E07 front tire. I'd seen a lot of good recommendations on that tire. I was about to go with the Pirelli Scorpion Rally STR like I had talked about, but I decided to try something a little different, and it looked like obviously that E07 is supposed to be a lot better dirt tire than the STR. So I'll get that spooned on here in the next day or two. But I wanted to, since I've been gone for a while, I wanted to go get a ride in with the how I had the bike set up before I left, so I could kind of have a baseline to judge how the tire is working when I change it over. See if the E07 gives me that added off-road feel that I'm looking for, and how it compares on road. So just getting the baseline today with everything as I left it. And then I'm really excited. As far as I've seen on YouTube, this next thing I got planned, I haven't seen any videos of anybody doing it, especially on the 390 Adventure. So it's going to be something I'm really excited to do. I hope it's going to be a big game changer for this bike and address one of the things that could really improve its performance off-road. So it's a little bit of money, But I am excited to hopefully get that done at the end of this week, and I will try and make a video as I do it and get it up there. So that's my little teaser that I think I'll be able to show you guys something new that I haven't seen out there yet, and hopefully provide some feedback on whether or not it's a worthwhile modification for this bike. I will just throw out the teaser that it's for the front suspension. So, and like I said, it's not the stuff that I've seen from anyone else, so don't jump to any conclusions quite yet on it. I'm hoping, I haven't been on this road before, hoping that I'm going to get to some dirt. I was using the Rever app to kind of map this one out, and I believe, if I understand the app right, that this road is supposed to become a mixed surface of some sort. But right now it's just a nice Sunday cruising road. Unfortunately, my podcast that I was listening to stopped for some reason. If you guys don't already listen to it, I highly recommend the High Side, Low Side podcast from Revzilla. Spurgeon Dunbar and Zach Port's always entertaining to listen to. And just a great podcast to pass the time to, and often quite hilarious. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. I think we're going to hopefully get up here where we're going to get a nice view. I can see some water. But, oh yeah. Having that nice low exhaust note really adds a lot more character to the bike, and I wouldn't doubt that a lot of people now, I'm surprised how many people look at this bike and they are always surprised to learn that it's a 390. I guess it just looks big enough, or looks enough like it's Big Brothers, that everybody assumes it's a much bigger bike. And so I think they're always a little in shock when you tell them it's only a 390. But now with this exhaust on, I think it definitely gives it a big boy sound. And you'll have to let me know in the comments if you think it's too annoying in the video, if it comes across too annoying. Like I said, I don't want to be an annoying motorbiker by any means, but I'm kind of dealing with the limitations of this system here of, yeah, once you tear out the resonator and all that stuff, it doesn't really matter how much exhaust you add on the end, it's going to have some noise. And this was the quietest option I could find from that company. But man, what a deal this exhaust was. I mean, a full system for like 250 bucks. And all stainless, nice quality. I still can't believe how affordable it was. And the shipping was rather quick, coming from Poland, I believe. So it's not like you have to wait forever to get it. Yeah, what a fun road. That's one thing I've got to say so far is around Reading I have found a lot of twisty roads. Just, I don't think you could run out. There's so many different directions to head, so many hilly terrain, mountainous terrain nearby. You can probably make a lifetime out of driving around this area and finding trails and by roads to go explore on. So that's super exciting. But it's like, man, just this KTM 390, what a great bike. I just can't imagine why people think they need more than this, except for when it comes to like sand. A little more down low, sure. More grunt for going out in sand, yeah. But for what most people do out on the road and trails, overestimating their needs. And I'm sure it's a lot of fun having that big engine, all that power, and down low and grunt. But then you're feeding it and carrying around all that weight. Alright, are we starting to get somewhere? Let's see where this goes. Woohoo! Interesting to see how that Insta3 camera likes hanging out there on the boom during all this bouncing. But so now we're obviously going a little slower. Maybe we're going to be moving around a little more. We'll see as we get up on this trail. Probably not going to be anything too exciting. I think it's probably a fairly well beaten forestry road here that we're on. Oh yeah, I guess I need to switch my modes. That's the one thing that I always forget. So I get the ABS switched over. Now we'll see if we can get the traction control switched over here. Just need to be in a spot where I can let off the throttle for a bit. Guess we'll just go ahead and stop. And 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. There you go. But man, what a nice day. Been cooped up on a boat for a month. And all I did was think about coming out here and doing this. And I have to say that that's one of the worst things is I get rusty real quick. And I'm still just trying to learn and get better. But I'm hoping to really get out and ride this month home. I was really bummed. I wanted to go to the Get On Adventure Fest down there in Mojave Desert that's sponsored by Revzilla. I was a little late on learning about that, but unfortunately it began right at the point that I was getting off the boat, and I knew that I wasn't going to be able to make it home, be ready, and make the trip, and not at least lose a couple days getting down there. So I would have paid about $400 to go to the event and maybe made it for half of it, and I probably would have felt like trash the whole time because on the boat I have some weird hours that I keep. And just these last couple days being home, I'm always recovering from that schedule. So I would have been pretty rough trying to make a 10-11 hour drive down to Mojave and then put in those days riding. But real bummer. I really wish I could have gone there. I really enjoy their content. like I said, it'd just be the biggest perk to me besides, well, there's several perks that going there I would have enjoyed. First would have been, I think, all the bike demos. I mean, it's obviously very hard these days with dealerships to get a chance to ride any bikes and sit down and get experience on them and find out what you really like and enjoy. So an event like that where you're going to have a lot of manufacturing and dealership support, and the bikes are going to be out there for people to demo ride, that was going to be invaluable in itself. Secondly, would have been the riding experience, because I definitely want to get better and better at riding. I've been out of it for so long, and then I guess hopping on these bikes, which are totally different than dirt bikes in my opinion. But I was saying that the riding experience there that I would have gained, I think would have been nice. And then the biggest attraction was actually just to meet a lot of those people that I've been watching or listening to. I mean, people like Ari Henning, Zach Kortz, and Spurgeon Dunbar. I find them all pretty entertaining, and I love especially the work that Zach and Ari have done, all their travels, their videos that they've produced have just been super entertaining. They're just a really enjoyable, like their attitudes. So it just would have been a real treat to be able to go see them. So we'll see what happens. I'm not sure if my schedule will work out with making it to the Black Hills one in July, I believe it is. And then again, I kind of doubt that quite the cast of characters will make it to that one, just because it's further away from their SoCal location. So a lot of those guys that aren't really into the ADV side of it may not make it out there, I'm suspecting. So this is your kind of riding, just the fire roads, nothing crazy. You can take a pickup or a 4x4 down it. This 390 has no problems whatsoever doing this stuff. This is cake, obviously. You know, you could do this with any scrambler or probably anything that you don't care too much about. But I think for a lot of people, just this kind of getting out, obviously this is a beautiful ride today. So hopefully I'm on the right road here. I got a general idea of where I want to go, but these are some pretty squiggly lines on the map, and we're outside of service. And we'll just have to see if we can figure it out. So I guess we'll see where this road goes. If it all goes wrong, we'll just backtrack a bit. I don't think it can get us too far out of place. There's a little baby waterfall. And as you can see, the 390, at least the way I've got it, is she does a great job. Unless you're going real slow, I can almost just leave it in third, kind of on cruise control for a lot of this stuff. It's got at least enough torque to slowly build up over most stuff. It's just when you end up really dropping down in the RPMs there on those slower turns, you might want to downshift. But there, didn't even downshift for that one, and you can see she had no issue just barking right out of there. So funny, all the different terrains you're coming across here. At one time starts looking like a gravel quarry, then another time lots of clay, and then it just reverts to a dirt road, perhaps. So that's where we're going. haven't got lost yet, but there's still plenty of time for that. But I've been really trying to work on, well, I don't know if I should say really trying to work on, but I would like to get better at, you know, everything. No. Like going through these slicker gravel on this bike. I don't know how much of it is just the tires, but maybe I was just younger and dumber when I was on my dirt bikes, but I felt like I would go through the gravel turns so fast on those things and felt so much more in control. Whereas with this bike, I'm kind of holding my breath a lot of the time. Not sure if I'm gonna just slide out as soon as I put her over too hard and some of the stuff. And I think most of that's mental. But like I said, yesterday I had those problems with the spark peeling, or the other day I had the problems with the spark peeling, where I was washing out a time or two, which surprised me a lot because the last time I was on gravel with that thing, I felt supremely confident and it was going great. More confident than I was on this thing. So I was a little shocked how it performed yesterday. I think a lot of it just had to do with that certain terrain that I was on there was just very loose. Yeah, I'll have to post it up here, but if you haven't seen it, I'm planning on taking some time and really trying to do the drills that I've seen this one YouTuber do. I'll put his name up, but his channel has just been a breath of fresh air as far as somebody that obviously has a lot of experience, that takes the time to sit down and show a really well thought out presentation on how to work on skills and what to do. And it made me realize that I need to take a little more time and stop just going out and riding, which is what I tend to do, is just go ride and hope that I get better, and that I actually need to stop and sit in one spot and just do the same exercise until I build up some muscle memory and learn from each evolution, because it doesn't generally do a lot of good on the rides like this. You come across the one thing, you might have made it through, or you only do it once, and that was the one little bit of experience. You tried it one way and you didn't get a chance to really see what works, what doesn't work, and what signs to pick up on. So I'm really hoping to improve my riding skills just by sitting down and running drills the way he shows them. So a big shout out to him for the great videos he's been putting out. And one day then hopefully I will actually look somewhat competent on this bike. And that's where the 390 is just a great bike, because to me, I'm far from maximizing the potential that this bike has. So the idea that you need a bigger bike, but it all comes down to what you're trying to do. If you are just interested in cruising, doing touring with a little bit of light off-road, then maybe those bigger bikes make sense, as long as you keep yourself out of those situations where it's going to become a detriment if your skill level isn't there. Whereas I'm hoping with this thing, it lets me improve my riding skills, and the day that I can truly sit back and say, man, I have more skills than this bike has ability, then I will upgrade. I'm not saying that's going to happen, because I always get really tempted when I'm looking at some of those other bikes out there, but I also know that I really don't need another bike another adventure bike at the moment. This bike is definitely capable of doing everything I want to do. Is it going to be as plush and relaxed on the freeway on long trips as those other bikes? No. But I'm definitely willing to give it up so that when I'm out here doing any of this stuff, I don't have to worry about having a monster behemoth bike that frankly is above my skill level. And I definitely believe in that school of thought that the smaller bikes are going to be more helpful in facilitating someone to learn skills, learn the basics, get better. Whereas a big bike is going to be kind of a sink or swim moment for people when it comes time, and might deter people from ever learning more skills. They'll just not ride in those areas where it's going to require them to be better riders. That's just my thought. It's all about what you want out of your bike. Because I am sure that a GS is probably amazing to ride around, do touring, and just a super plush and enjoyable ride. Or even some of the adventure bikes that are almost more sport-like say a 1290 Adventure S, where it's more of a touring bike in disguise. It's going to be amazing for using it for that thing. But it's even this bike, I wonder if to some degree would have been better served just getting a dual sport first. Because I definitely wanted to get a dual sport. I just can't make up my mind. It is the hardest quagmire ever for me to sort out the idea of, should I get a more affordable dual sport, or should I go whole hog with something that is going to have all the power and capability? And while it might sound like I'm contradicting what I just said about starting on a small bike and working up, I think the difference is that, say you go with a KTM Husqvarna Gas 350 or Beta 350, those bikes, they're actually lighter than, say, going with the Kawasaki or Honda 300s, or say a DRZ. You're actually getting a lighter bike that's going to have all the features and performance, so you're not necessarily getting yourself in as much trouble. Though I do fear that if I were to get a bike like those, the extra engine performance and ability might tempt me into doing things that aren't going to be great for my health, or that I'm not ready for. Whereas I imagine, say, the 300s from Kawasaki and Honda are going to be more like tractor-like, where I'm just going to be taking it easy and I'm going to be putting around and having a good time on it, but I'm not going to have any illusions of doing crazy stuff on it. So I've been incessantly debating about that over the last few months, if I should just go whole hog and get something that most likely, as far as I understand it, especially like, say, the Betas, it seems like those, you get that and you are not going to have to spend a bunch of money doing much to it, because it comes so tricked out and prepared already that besides putting on the basic protection stuff, you're not changing air boxes as far as I understand it. You're not doing fueling mods or any of that, because it all just comes ready to roll. But as I was saying, I kind of feel like perhaps if I was to get the Kawasaki or Honda, you end up putting all the money into upgrading it. Doing the protection, doing any performance mods you might end up doing to it, and then, you know, you're into it for 80% of what you would have spent on the Primo bike. That's kind of a forever bike, I think, but 80%'s still less than 100, so still leaves you wiggle room, and I don't think you can go too wrong with the value on those 300s. And as far as the two different 300s go, I was leaning towards the Honda. First of all, it just looks to me like it's a little better, nicer build quality. Just looks like it's a better built bike. The finish on it's better, I should say. Kawasaki's a little funny. They at least those KLXs and the KXs that we have, the off-road stuff, sure all just kind of looks like it's still being made from the 80s or something. The welds and the tubing. That 300 from Honda just looks like a modern motorcycle in those areas. And so I was decided that for that, and the fact that you get the say the fuel gauge on the Honda, that seemed like a big perk. But as far as I've been able to conclude, it's kind of a pain to try and find a 300 around here, the Honda 300s. And so it might just be a lot easier to get a KLX. And I'm totally fine with it, and I guess the KLX has the benefit of it's probably going to last longer right out of the box without having to make mods, as far as I understand. The Honda sounds like you're going to want to get the suspension done relatively soon, especially since I am, like I said, about 200 pounds. Whereas I think the KLX, it sounds like, is out of the box good enough to go ride and enjoy without feeling like you're missing out on too much. No, not quite there. Not professional. Pop it over the log. Nah. Weehaw! Yeehaw! Oh, bumps. That just came up on me all of a sudden. Nice little view of the creek over there. We're definitely up in the rockier part of the terrain here. Now we can cruise. And it's over. Whew. That's good. So we'll go see if this road actually goes somewhere, or if I'm going to end up backtracking a long ways. The river seemed to indicate that there was a way around to another highway here, but because of some user error, I'll call it, I am not sure if I'm on the right route. And now I'm out of cell service range. Well, I'm not sure if this pavement's a good sign that we're going to make a connection with the rest of the world, or somebody just really wanted a nice little paved section here. Because this does not look like it's been getting the most love.